Large crowds were travelling with Jesus, and he turned and said to them, "Whoever comes to me and does not hate father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, and even life itself, cannot be my disciple. Whoever does not carry the cross and follow me cannot be my disciple. For which of you, intending to build a tower, does not first sit down and estimate the cost to see whether he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he has laid a foundation and is not able to finish, all who see it will begin to ridicule him, saying, 'This fellow began to build and was not able to finish.' Or what king, going out to wage war against another king, will not sit down first and consider whether he is able with 10,000 to oppose the one who comes against him with 20,000? If he cannot, then, while the other is still far away, he sends a delegation and asks for the terms of peace. So therefore none of you can become my disciple if you do not give up all your possessions." Have you ever made a commitment to something without finding out first all that would be expected of you? A new job or organisation? A committee or volunteering? Have you signed up for something, a subscription, a purchase, an ongoing club, without reading all of the small print first? I'm sure it's not just me. You're too late for claiming PPI now, but the scale of PPI claims suggests that many people are not good at reading the small print first. In our passage today, Jesus is warning anyone thinking of following him about the cost of discipleship. And this passage comes just after Luke has told us the parable of the great banquet. That's the one where all the friends come up with excuses as to why they can't come, and instead welcomes all those on the street, the poor and the lame and the beggar, to the banquet. I wonder if sometimes we're guilty of trying to portray the Christian faith to make it look as easy as possible. Something you can sort of slip into without any real commitment. And of course we do want our churches to be welcoming, to make anyone that walks through our doors feel safe, comfortable and welcome in this place. But I wonder if sometimes we're guilty of making it seem a bit too easy. And today's reading is a challenge to all of us, to our comfort. Jesus wasn't looking to build up a massive crowd of superficial followers. In today's world, I don't think he would be interested in having millions of followers on Instagram or Facebook. I don't think he was looking out for the one-liner or the selfie photographs, because Jesus' message has always been deeper than that. He's not seeking an easy headline with simple promises. Instead, Jesus asks, which of you, intending to build a tower, does not first sit down and estimate the cost to see whether he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, when he's laid a foundation and is not able to finish, all who see it will begin to ridicule him. Okay, I'm guessing that Jesus was assuming that we don't all have ADHD like me, as I am likely to plunge into something with excitement and enthusiasm without perhaps thinking it all through. Perhaps in asking this question, Jesus knows that all of us do easily overstretch ourselves. We're all guilty of embarking on projects and then running out of time or money or enthusiasm and commitment. And sometimes we have to stop things that we've started. Jesus is making it really clear here that he's asking his followers to be totally committed to following him. And I think his challenge is for us here today, as well as those first disciples. Are we really committed to following Jesus? And before we answer yes, I invite you to listen again to what Jesus has said the cost will be. Whoever comes to me and does not hate father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, and even life itself, cannot be my disciple. Whoever does not carry the cross and follow me cannot be my disciple. I think we've accidentally softened that last line in recent times. Whoever does not carry the cross, we've turned that cross to bear into a shorthand for whatever challenges we're facing in life, be it ill health, financial challenges, or difficult relationships. We describe it as our cross to bear. But I'm not sure that's what Jesus was meaning here, carrying the cross. Following his last line, this is about choosing to take on the commitment of following Jesus. And this commitment involves deliberate sacrifice and exposure to risk and ridicule in order to follow him. Are we willing to do that? In this particular passage, as well as giving up father and mother, wife and children and life, he says to the people here that none of them can become his disciple if they do not give up all their possessions. There is a cost to being a disciple. Are we willing, each of us, to make this commitment? And I wonder when we hear this or read it, or when we read it to ourselves, do we think, maybe that was just for them. He can't really be asking that of me. Surely not now. We live in an era of self-reliance where independence is prized above almost everything else. And I think what's behind a lot of what Jesus was asking is are we willing to put our trust in God? Are we willing to let go of our feeling of being in control? Because family, friends, possessions, home, money, health are all ways in which we can feel in control of our lives. They can be like our security blanket, the things and people that make us feel safe. And are we willing to let go of that perception of being in control? For most of us, a lot of our energy, our focus, our time and our efforts will be going into these things, our families and our possessions. And however lovely they are, however important they are, I suspect we all have a tendency for those things to become consuming for us to build our self-esteem, our identity around those things and those people, and for us to be distracted by them. And here, Jesus is asking us to orient ourselves towards God instead. If we're looking for a nice, cosy, comfortable social club, you may find that Pennington Sports and Social Club or the Musketeer or the Golf Club are better designed for that contentment than the church. Because here in church we are committed to that change of priorities, of values, of the pursuits that Jesus is calling us to. And I invite you to be wary of people that preach the prosperity gospel to you, suggesting that somehow following Jesus will ensure wealth and health. I think Jesus' words today are very clear. We need to be willing to give up those things, to give up our illusion of control. He's not stating this as a rule. There aren't explicit terms and conditions, and we know from elsewhere in the Gospels that Jesus tells different things to different people. But I think this message today is about attachment, and where have we put our trust, our security, our sense of self. And I think in response to this, for some of us, this might be about redirecting our time or energy. For some, it might be about our personal relationships, our jobs, our vocation. It might be a commitment of our financial resources. It might be about what we're watching on telly or what we're choosing to read. Or it might be about our language and how we talk with and about friends and neighbours. But for each of us, the path of discipleship is a call to live wholeheartedly following Christ, accepting the grace and love of God and recognising that each and every one of us is loved by God, that love spilling out for each of us, and the call for each of us to respond to that love, that response unfolding in each of our lives, the living, breathing, acting of our lives, unfolding in the depth and knowledge of God's peace. I'm going to end this with a poem by Gerard Kelly called The Call. In the whirlwind of the crush our conflict, when movement is measured in millions and arrival is the only goal, God calls to us. In the night that settles like snow over the city, a blanket to smother the day, while under the silence those for whom sleep is no shelter struggle to settle their souls, God calls to us. In the darting eyes of children born to the ghetto of an aching need, born to ask why longing must always outweigh satisfaction, God calls to us. And when we walk a crowded city street, touching more people than the human mind can count, yet are as alone as hermits, when we think we go unnoticed, God calls to us, I love you.